Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope you've all had a wonderful weekend so far. Today, we're just going to be delivering a nice, short and sweet Cardano update video. We're going to be covering some things that are taking place within the Cardano ecosystem, covering a parameter update that is set to take place on the border of the current epoch we're in and the one we're going into, that is going to ultimately lead to more throughput and scalability on Cardano's layer one, which is going to make the blockchain more efficient. And I've already noticed a huge difference with the likes of using Sunday Swap, even buying CNFTs and just sending transactions. You know, it's got a lot faster progressively over time with these parameter updates being implemented. So we're going to talk about it. Read the thread from IOHK. We're going to talk about MinSwap, which have completed their security audit. I'm going to be revisiting what I spoke about in yesterday's video towards the end in regards to Milka Media. Or Milkameda, and how they're essentially bringing Cardano cross-chain. It's huge. I hope the video that I did yesterday kind of explained this. It made sense to me, but what makes sense to me often will not make sense to anybody else. We're also going to be discussing, and I'm going to do this at the start to get it out of the way of, the 300 ton elephant in the room, which is markets in general right now. They're very indecisive and very uncertain. I mean, Bitcoin's at a real critical point here. It's nice to see that it's actually held. It hasn't sold violently below this kind of support level. You can see the level that it kind of found, or certainly today found support at, is a historic one. And typically when you've rejected off this, you'll reject to the downside, or vice versa. If you hold it as support, typically it will hold as that. But markets are very, very shaky at the moment. Firstly, we've got the huge downdraft from the Federal Reserve, threatening to up interest rates. I don't know how many of you guys remember 2018. The last time they did this and actually implemented interest rate hikes, the stock market tanked, and it essentially caused them to rethink the decisions they were making. And since that kind of moment, they'd actually continued to lower them. So we've got all this kind of uncertainty surrounding that. People are going to take risk off the table. Crypto is still a very, for some people, risky and speculative, certainly, asset class that they don't want to have to hold more risk than they need to. Certainly your big players with your billions of dollars, some of them trillions under management. We've also got the Russia and Ukraine situation taking place right now, which is a geopolitical event. And this is just another reminder that markets are markets, and that ultimately crypto is but a boat upon the ocean. And we are affected by what the ocean does, and what the ocean dictates to us happens. We don't dictate to the ocean what's going to take place. And geopolitical events, macroeconomic events are all tied into our story, and we're tethered more to the world around us now than we ever have been, given some of the actors that are involved in our space now that were previously weren't. And how, you know, Bitcoin traditionally, the 4-year cycle theories were just, and Bitcoin moved in this kind of boom and bust flow, if you will, due to the halvenings and miners having to become profitable and not profitable, and so on and so forth. So there's lots taking place on markets. We are having a down day today. Ultimately, one reason I can be a hodler is because I believe in where this technology is going. We showed you the other day a chart with the internet on it, and it was a progressive graph of how the internet, in terms of adoption, looked, and crypto and where it's at. It's very early in terms of adoption. In fact, it's nowhere near really started yet, and that's all still to come. I think there's a lot of value that gets swept up within that, but on that journey there's going to be ups and downs, there's going to be turbulence, just like everything in life, guys, and this is just some of what we're seeing today. Lots of uncertainty going into markets. People are very worried about Cardano. I think I'm not particularly worried. I mean, I still hold all my Cardano. I'm a believer in ADA. The only altcoins that I sold were very, very small speculative ones, but people are certainly if we look at this run here, worried that this is going to play out, that we're at this kind of point here where we're, can you see, sort of invalidating previous structure and coming down. But we'll see. It's all still early days yet. The Federal Reserve have got a meeting on Monday, an emergency meeting, due to the fact that the CPI statistics were high. 7.5% is ridiculously high, and they're going to have a meeting of what they're going to do about that. And they were talking about upping interest rates by 75 bips. We'll see. So we've got all that to contend with. One thing that is important not to take your eye off is what's taking place within Cardano. And this is another parameter update that has been proposed today. Parameter update. Today we have commenced the update proposal process to increase per block unit limit for Plutus scripts on the Cardano mainnet. This will take effect at the boundary of Epoch 321 on the 14th of February at roughly 9:44 p.m. This is the latest in our ongoing plan to steadily increase Cardano network capacity and improve performance in a safe and measured way based on the continuous monitoring of real-world network usage. The per block Plutus memory unit limit will increase from 500 million to 506 million at the epoch boundary on the 14th of February. The latest change we made in increase the Plutus memory limit per transaction by 14 million. After carefully monitoring, we have seen no adverse impact to block progression. So one thing that I really like about the way Cardano do things and the way the team behind monitoring the blockchain and implementing these proposals do things is they do it in a peer-reviewed way. So they don't move fast and break things. Ethereum's been or has typically done things by deploying and then fixing the problems after they've occurred, whereas Cardano wants to try and, they're essentially a prevention is better than cure blockchain, which is something that I really like about them. Increase the per block memory limit will allow for developers to utilize the full value of the last change. 56 million is a natural choice, allowing devs to run up to 4 Plutus scripts per block, each making use of the extra memory we added previously, up to 40 million units each. This increment increase is the latest in the continuous series of planned adjustments and optimizations we're making as we scale Cardano for continuous ecosystem growth. Once deployed, we should monitor carefully and so on and so forth. And they also they've linked an article that they've wrote talking about how they're also going to implement different scaling solutions, some of them not just on the layer 1, on a layer 2, and roll-ups and so on and so forth. They've linked an article to that. So it's a very exciting, this is a very well-timed update, certainly as we've got another Dexs, another well-anticipated Dexs min swap launching soon. There's no official date, but typically a security audit is the last thing a project will do before deploying on mainnet. We've certainly seen that be the path of progression on previous Dapps. This, of course, is the article. Twig, I think, was the software auditor, and I think they had a couple of issues that were small and quickly addressed, but it went well. So we're going to see MinSwap very soon deploying. This is just another Dexs and another part of the Cardano ecosystem that's coming together. And these are just a couple of many. I mean, things are moving in the right direction, and often when price, which, there's 1,000,001 examples of, doesn't always reflect the underlying asset or the underlying product that it's trying to. There's often a disassociation there between, for example, Cardano and its price. I believe that truly. I think this is a technology that's going to impact the world in a big way. It was Jeff Bezos that said invest in something that's going to change the world. For me, the opportunity is with ADA. And there's a number of other cryptos out there that I'd also put in that basket. To touch very quickly on yesterday, we spoke about Multimedia and how they had released a demonstration using the Nomad bridge. And essentially what you've got here is you've got Cardano, you've got USDC, which is an Ethereum native token, or typically an Ethereum native token, an EVM token. And then you've got World Mobile, all in one wallet. Now, the reason I brought this up yesterday was because the possibilities for this are huge. Cardano gains exposure to another world, essentially. And this is the future I think we're moving towards, where all these blockchains will be able to interoperate with one another. But this is going to allow quite a lot of liquidity, potentially, for Cardano to gain access to, and it's something I'm certainly very excited about. Many people were asking, well, they were saying, okay, well, if it lives on Multimedia, how is it Cardano? But it is Cardano in the sense that it still references the Cardano blockchain. How rollups work is that they don't necessarily reference at every point. Rollups do it in slightly different ways. For example, Polygon will kind of wrap transactions into one and then reference it as a whole transaction, if that makes sense. That's how some rollups work, but you have to reference the underlying blockchain. So the Cardano blockchain is still getting referenced in regards to this ADA, which essentially makes it ADA. But it's very exciting what's going on here. I know they've also, or have certainly talked about a Dexs that they're planning on rolling out. That's something I'll certainly be taking part in or I'll be taking part in trialing out, and then when it launched on mainnet, I'll certainly be using. Because I think if you had a DEX where you could trade any token, I mean, that's just, you know, the possibilities are endless there, the yield farming and so on and so forth. We're going to not only see Cardano getting locked into our own native ecosystem, but ecosystems elsewhere, which is huge. You know, it takes ADA off the table, supply and demand, and so on and so forth. And that is all yet to be realized, in my opinion. So that's really all I have for you in this video, guys. If you've enjoyed this content, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment. Remember, we do have the all-in crypto stake pool. We're minting blocks frequently now, pretty much every epoch, given the amount of Cardano that we have. We also have the Sunday Swap ISPO coming to an end on the 14th, around the same time that the input-output parameter update is taking place. So you guys are, you know, I know we had a lot of people that went over there to harvest the rewards. We'd love to have you back if you want to come back. So yeah, all I have for you guys, it was just a nice and chilled out one on this Saturday evening, or certainly Saturday evening for myself. Hope you enjoy your weekend, and I will catch you all in the next YouTube video, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching.